Hi guys and welcome back to another DrAce video, and today we're going to be playing MotoGP 21 and it's round 3 of our MotoGP World Championship, and it's time for the Algarve International Circuit of Portimao for the hashtag Portuguese GP. So here we go then with our first lap of this practice session on board the Aprilia RSGP. Now, two disappointing races in Qatar from Qatar 1 and the Doha GP, which is effectively Qatar 2. I do feel really good here in Portimao. We had a terrific result here last season with a lot of battling with Johan Zarco, and I honestly expect it's going to be another really tough Grand Prix weekend in the sense of it's going to be a battle. I don't think the results are going to be too bad. I think we can be right up there fighting for the podium, but it all depends how well we do in practice and in qualifying, which of course if we get through into Q2 automatically we have a great chance of starting in the front rows. But of course, at the very least, we'll only be starting on the fourth row. And the fourth row for us is very, very good, in fact, because we really tend to struggle when we start from the back of the grid and have to work all the way through. Of course, anyone would, because it's so difficult to overtake within MotoGP. And of course, MotoGP 21, the video game, you can get a great start, but it's difficult then to maintain that pace after thrashing it so hard from the get-go. But not too bad for the time being for us in the sense of sector time so far. Up by 0.4 of a second, trailing behind Frankie Morbidelli. We're not going to be able to pick up any sort of slipstream, but I do feel we're in a good position for potentially getting ourselves up into the top front parts there. Of course, is provisional practice, so of course we still have to see what happens with the rest of the 40 minutes, but for the time being, going into Galp for the right-hander, bring on the acceleration with the usual electronic settings. Nice exit there as well, not touching the rumble strip and still holding on with a massive amount of speed. Across the line we will go, and that's top position for Matt Grant. And how about that one? Two Aprilias in the top two positions right now as things stand. Now, of course, we were following Frankie Morbidelli. We didn't really get a slipstream per se. However, we did get ourselves into the top position, trailing behind the Italian. But now we turn the bike to the left-hand side, going underneath the Tissot sign. I do feel I do this corner all right, but I don't feel like I get much speed in the sense of lap times. I always find myself losing a little bit of time compared to either the rider ahead of us or just another rider on track. But for the time being, looking on the left-hand side of the screen, still trailing Frankie Morbidelli. We do have a red sector for Frankie Morbidelli and double red sectors for the former MotoGP World Champion, the 8 times World Champion, Marc Marquez. But now onto the right-hand side for Samsung. Very difficult corner, this one. Very, very easy on the acceleration, otherwise you just risk the chance of wheeling too much. And also, maybe just upshift a little bit into second gear and you do fare a little bit better. But now braking into the right-hand side for the Portimao corner. Nice and tight to the apex for turn 11, then bring on the acceleration. Shift up to second gear and then get onto the left-hand side. Nice and tight to the apex once again. Be careful not to go on the rumble strips there, because you can have a bit of a torrid time with the rumble strips within MotoGP 21, but there has been a change at the top of the picture. Left-hand side of your screens, ladies and gentlemen. Jorge Martin, ooh, massive moment there, getting onto the rumble strips, just completely ruined our chance of improving on this lap. But Jorge Martin, Pol Espargaro and Marc Marquez, and now Valentino Rossi positioning that Yamaha into second place. This is changing very quickly here. Myself and Aleix Espargaro being pushed down to 5th and 6th place respectively. We still need to improve our lap times from the 1:39.204 set on the previous lap. So we do have a little bit of tyre remaining, not a great amount of tyre, so we'll have to try and gauge it to see how well we fare. But I'm considering maybe changing to the soft option rear once again, and maybe keep the soft option front. The soft option front looks good so far, it doesn't look like it's been plagued too much, but the rear on that right hand side certainly has had a bit of a pounding. So onto the left hand side now for the very difficult Tour VIP corner, really pushing, and now I could feel it. Oh, I could feel it going. I tried to save it, but unfortunately that is over for that one. But now look at the position we're in. We had that crash. I've changed the soft option front and the medium rear. I'm trying to save some soft option rears for the qualifying session in just a moment's time. But look at the position we're in right now. We are 6.5 of a second down from Fabio Quartararo's time, who is in first position. And yet, we are in 18th place. Wow. This is crucial now to get into Q2, because if we don't get into Q2, the times to beat are going to be so difficult and so tight that only maybe a couple of tenths of a second difference could mean 12th place or last place This is how crucial this is, and we're on a cracking lap so far. Very in control going into 7th corner here in Portimao. Now into Samsung for the 8th corner. Nice and tight to the apex. Major props for our movement there. Fabio Quartararo has gone down in this session, but bigger fish to fry for the time being, because we could be positioning this Aprilia RSGP as the top Aprilia and the top motorcycle in MotoGP. So onto the right hand side, a little bit wide for turn 11, not quite as in control as I would have liked, but we are up by 59 thousandth of a second. Is this going to be enough to put us into Q2 directly? It would be the first time we'll be going into Q2 this season in the 3rd round of our MotoGP Championship, our 2nd season with the Aprilia manufacturer, of course. But now onto the right-hand side for Sagres. Continue to bring on the acceleration. Can this put the world champion into qualifying 2 directly? Fabio Quartararo's gone down for a 2nd time. The real-life world champion, but of course the video game format world champion is on the acceleration. The rear tyre is burning up, but gotta go across the line. It's going to be crucial for a position in Q2, and is it enough? It is! 7th place for Matt Grant. So the end of the practice sessions, and we do secure a position into Q2 for the very first time this season. It only took 3 rounds for us to do it, but I tell you what, I'm not mad at that. The very least position we can get now is 12th place. So here we go then, 13 minutes remaining of the session. Do we have a chance of getting the 2nd row perhaps? Maybe a front row start. I tell you what, I'm going to try and dig down deep and acquire a front row start. I think that would be absolutely crucial for us. We always have a great start in MotoGP 21 with this Aprilia, so why not try and position ourselves in the best way possible and get on the front row? That's the goal. That's what we're going to be trying to do. But now into the Tour VIP. Of course, session ended almost prematurely earlier when we crashed into the Tour VIP. Thankfully, we were able to get back into the garage and replace the motorcycle. But now we have a good chance with the position we're in right now, trailing behind Jorge Martin. We're getting closer and closer, actually. So if we're behind him for the final corner going into Galp and then maybe beyond for the actual start-finish straight, we could have a great chance of picking up a very crucial slipstream with this Aprilia RSGP. Now, bear in mind, the Aprilia RSGP is manufactured for speed in my MotoGP 21 career mode. We chose package B, I believe it was, or package 3, and that gave us more of an oomph for this Aprilia. And speaking of oomph, we are up by 5/10 of a second as we now go into the left-hander for turn 13. This combination and this Aprilia is working terrifically right now. Can we have a provisional pole for the very first time this season? We only had 2 pole positions to our name last season in our first year in MotoGP. Could this be our first pole position and our 3rd overall? Let's find out if this is going to be good enough. On the right hand side we go. Bring on the acceleration. You see the bike just squirming and slipping on the rear tyre. Bring on the acceleration, full power across the line. It's a 1:38.437 for Grant, and that is provisional pole as things stand. Brilliantly done there for Grant. Coming directly into Q2, this is what we can do when the confidence is high and the Aprilia is working to its best. And I tell you what, I'm actually really pleased with that. Whether we stay in pole position, which would be a dream come true, or we just hang in there and maybe lose a couple of positions and finish on the 2nd row, regardless, I'm very proud and pretty impressed with our performance within this Algarve qualifying session as things stand. But we still have plenty of time remaining. There's a little bit of a voice crack there. And we have 1 lap of fuel, so of course we'll only be able to tackle this particular lap, and then it'll be back into the pits to change the rubber. But for the time being, looking on the left-hand side of the screen, I'm only seeing orange sectors, which is good news. If we see red sectors, I'm going to be a little bit more concerned, but for the time being, not too bad. 0.2 of a second down to our previous best lap time. Don't think we're going to improve on this particular lap, but it doesn't matter. If we can just get a bit more data, get a bit more confident, maybe then we could go for the final push to try and get pole position. But braking on the rumble strip there, mentioned it on the previous lap, Lord Almighty. I mentioned it earlier, either on the previous lap or into the practice session, that you must be very careful on the brakes into that corner. I wasn't, unfortunately, and that almost ended our session very prematurely. But I think I might dive into the pits here or just cross the line anyway, because we're not going to improve here and just accept defeat for this particular lap, and then we'll be back to the drawing board to try and improve one more time. We will have another tyre, so which is always good news for us, and let's see what we can do with fresh rubber. But Bagnaia didn't see that until now. He has just put himself into 2nd position, trailing by 32 thousandth of a second. Jack Miller in third place has denied me a pole position in the past. I do believe it was the Sachsenring where Thriller Miller decided to put everything on the line and steal our provisional pole position, but for the time being it seems to be Bagnaia in second with Miller in third, and then another duo of teammates, Quartararo and Vinales. Jorge Martin, Marc Marquez and Alex Rins are your current provisional top 8 positions. Quartararo has just gone down actually, so something has happened to the Yamaha man. Something has happened actually a few times to him in these past couple of laps from either the practice session or even within this qualifying too. But onto the right hand side for Samsung for turn 8, we do have our favoured combination of tyres right now with that very warm soft tyre at the back, and then of course the front soft as well. We are very close to actually beating our previous best of the 138.437 as we get very out of shape going into Portimao. But onto the right hand side now for turn 11, a little bit on the rumble strip, we have lost a tenth and a bit. I can't seem to improve upon the 138.437, and I'll tell you what, it was a really good lap. And I really must stop saying I tell you what, but I tell you what, it was pretty good. It was a pretty decent lap. So on the right hand side we'll go for Sagres for turn 14. This lap is not going to matter somewhat. Maybe I'm going to jump into the pits, I'm not entirely sure. But honestly I really don't think I can get anything else out of these tyres, and I don't think I've got anything else left. These are my last tyres I can actually use. So let's just get across the line and just hope for the best. Fingers are crossed, toes are crossed, the whole job lot. So let's see what happens when we cross the line in a moment's time. So across the line, we will end the session. We take pole for the first time this season. Our third pole position in MotoGP, and in a track that is extremely difficult to do, we've got the pole position. This bike package is working terrifically. But I tell you what then guys, we only have a couple more hours to go until the Grand Prix, and we're going to start from the best position possible. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know in the comment section down below. Look how close those lap times are, by the way. Absolutely unbelievable. Like, comment and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Hit the notification bell to be alerted to every single DrAce upload, and I will see you at 6 PM for the Grand Prix. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you in a bit. Ciao for now. Oh hi, didn't quite see you there. Good to see you're still here. If this video didn't quite sate your appetite, then why not watch some more DrAce content by clicking the video shown on screen now. Furthermore, if you would like to follow me on social media, you can do so now with the links down in the description. Consider subscribing so you don't miss a single DrAce video.